The Miracle Morning Summary. What I learned after 30 days. Life gets busy. Has the Miracle Morning been on your reading list? Learn the key insights now. Picture this. You're declared dead for 6 minutes, told you'll never walk again, yet somehow you create a morning routine that changes millions of lives worldwide. That's exactly what happened to Hal Elrod after his devastating car crash. His story proves something remarkable. How you start your morning can literally reshape your entire existence. Think about your typical morning. Do you hit snooze 3 times, grab coffee, and rush out the door feeling behind before the day even starts? You're not alone. Elrod discovered that how you begin each day affects everything that follows. The difference between people who thrive and those who merely survive often comes down to those first crucial hours. Here's what might surprise you. Roughly 95% of people settle for less than what they truly want in life. They accept mediocrity as normal. But what if changing just your first hour could pull you into that top 5%? During my 30-day experiment with Elrod's system, I uncovered why mornings hold such power. You'll discover the 6-part Savers framework that forms the backbone of this routine. The morning sets the tone for everything that follows: your energy, decisions, and even how you handle stress later in the day. Ready to see what happens when you transform how you wake up? About Hal Elrod. Most motivational speakers haven't actually lived through the impossible. Hal Elrod has. His journey from clinical death to creating a movement that's touched millions makes him uniquely qualified to teach personal transformation. When everything falls apart. At 20 years old, Hal's world shattered in 6 seconds. A drunk driver slammed into his car head-on at 70 miles per hour. He died at the scene for 6 full minutes. When doctors brought him back, the news got worse. 6 days in a coma, 11 broken bones, permanent brain damage, and a verdict that crushed most dreams. He'd never walk again. Most people would have accepted this reality. Hal created what he calls the 5-minute rule instead. Give yourself exactly 5 minutes to feel bad about what you can't control, then shift to acceptance and action. Weeks later, he took his first steps, but life wasn't finished testing him. The 2008 financial crisis wiped out his income and buried him under $425,000 in debt. Depression followed. Then came the cancer diagnosis at 37, only a 30% chance of survival. Once again, he beat the odds. How tragedy became transformation. Here's what makes Hal's story different. He turned every setback into a setup for something bigger. During his financial crisis, he studied successful people obsessively. One pattern emerged. They all had intentional morning routines. He combined their best practices into his own ritual. The results? Within 2 months, I had more than doubled my income, began training for a 52-mile ultramarathon, and decided to start writing a book to share my experience with others. That book introduced the world to his Life Savers framework: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. Since then, over 2.5 million copies have sold across 37 languages. Today, Hal's mission is to elevate the consciousness of humanity, one person and one morning at a time. His scars aren't just proof of survival. They're credentials for teaching others how to transform their lives, one morning at a time. This book is for you if The Miracle Morning works for anyone willing to wake up a few minutes earlier, but it especially resonates with people facing specific challenges that a structured morning routine can address. You feel trapped in the same daily patterns. Every morning feels identical. Coffee, emails, rushing to catch up before the day even starts. Sound familiar? Elrod recognizes that we all face the same fundamental challenge: to overcome mediocrity and live to our full potential. If you've tried other productivity methods but still feel stuck in autopilot mode, The Savers framework provides structure to replace limiting patterns with habits that actually move you forward. Your personal growth efforts keep stalling. Maybe you've bought self-help books that collect dust on your shelf, or started meditation apps you abandoned after a week. The routine addresses what research shows is today's top challenge: mental health and well-being. It also tackles the interconnected struggles of financial security, work-life balance, and social isolation that many face. This approach has transformed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people because it's completely customizable to your specific goals. You're drowning in a packed schedule. The beauty of the Miracle Morning Routine lies in its adaptability, making it perfect for busy professionals and students with zero extra time. You don't need to become a 5 a.m. person overnight. Waking up just 10 minutes earlier creates space for meaningful change. The framework adapts to focus on what matters most to you, whether that's career advancement, better relationships, or improved health. You can even spread the savers throughout your day if early mornings don't work with your schedule. The question isn't whether you have time for personal development. It's whether you can afford not to invest in becoming the person your goals require. Story Shot 1: The 95% Reality and Breaking Free. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to coast through life while others constantly push forward? The answer lies in a sobering reality check that 95% of people settle for less than what they truly want. This isn't about lacking opportunities. It's about the invisible barriers we create for ourselves. Understanding the 95% trap. Here's the thing. Most people live their lives on autopilot. They wake up, follow the same routine, and expect different results. Elrod calls this the 95% reality check, a simple question that cuts straight to the heart of mediocrity. If you don't actively change your life, will anything improve? The honest answer is no. Think about it like a hamster wheel. You're running hard, sweating, feeling busy, but you're not actually going anywhere. Elrod identified 7 specific traps that keep people stuck in this cycle. Rearview mirror syndrome happens when you let past failures dictate future possibilities. You tried starting a business once and it didn't work, so you convince yourself you're not an entrepreneur. Lack of life purpose leaves you drifting without direction. Isolated thinking makes you treat each day as separate instead of seeing how small actions compound over time. Missing accountability becomes a silent killer of progress. Having someone check on your goals can boost completion rates from 65% to 95%. Your circle of influence shapes your reality more than you realize. You become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. Insufficient personal development limits growth because success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. Finally, the someday mindset keeps pushing important changes into an imaginary future that never arrives. Here's what makes this particularly dangerous. Your subconscious mind controls 95% of your behavior. So even when you consciously want to change, these patterns keep pulling you back to familiar territory. The good news? Elrod's morning framework provides a daily escape route from these traps. When you start each day intentionally, you interrupt these automatic patterns and create space for growth. Story Shot 2: How Mediocrity Becomes the Norm. Consider the January gym phenomenon. Gym attendance spikes by nearly 150% every new year, yet by mid-February, roughly 90% of those determined faces have vanished. This cycle reveals something important about human nature. We can start with genuine enthusiasm, yet slip back into familiar patterns without even noticing. Mediocrity doesn't announce itself. It creeps in quietly through small daily choices. You skip one workout because you're tired. You choose Netflix over reading because you deserve to relax. You delay that important conversation because the timing isn't right. Each decision seems reasonable in isolation. Hal Elrod experienced this firsthand during a period when he found himself just going through the motions and stuck in a rut across every area of his life: health, finances, marriage, and parenting. From time to time, we all settle for less than what we truly want. The question becomes, how does this happen to well-intentioned people? The answer lies in 4 common traps. Rear-view mirror thinking. We assume tomorrow will look like yesterday. Past failures become proof that change is impossible. Lack of accountability. Without external pressure, we negotiate with ourselves until tomorrow becomes someday. Social influence. The people around us either elevate our standards or normalize our excuses. Complaints become conversations. Path of least resistance. We choose comfortable over challenging, even when comfortable leads nowhere. Social media makes this worse by showing highlight reels that make our good enough feel inadequate. We end up stuck between dissatisfaction with our current reality and intimidation about what change requires. The miracle morning exists to interrupt this pattern. It works because it targets the moment when your willpower is strongest and your excuses are weakest. The first hour of your day. Story shot 3. Drawing your line in the sand. Have you ever noticed how some people seem unstoppable once they decide something? They don't waver, don't second-guess, don't make excuses. Hal Elrod discovered their secret lies in what he calls drawing your line in the sand, establishing unbreakable boundaries for yourself. Think of it like this. Every day, you face hundreds of small decisions. Should you hit snooze? Skip the workout? Grab fast food instead of cooking? Each choice requires mental energy. But what if you could eliminate most of these decisions before they even arise? Elrod found that establishing core values and guiding principles creates the ultimate decision-making engine that predetermines how you'll respond to any challenge or opportunity. Your commitment becomes a North Star during tough moments. Here's how you apply this concept from Elrod's system. First, get crystal clear about what you actually want. Not what you think you should want, but what genuinely matters to you. Next, commit fully by writing it down. As Elrod explains, the best way to commit is not only in writing, it's actually to tell other people. Public accountability makes backing down much harder. When Elrod trained for his ultramarathon, he announced his goal publicly. This put his integrity on the line, making it nearly impossible to quit when motivation disappeared. Smart move. The miracle morning includes what Elrod calls the miracle mantra. I am committed to fill in the blank. No matter what, there is no other option. Reading this daily with conviction builds your resolve like a muscle. Drawing your line in the sand means making conscious choices about who you want to be. Once you decide, most future decisions become automatic. Your values act as filters. Opportunities either align with your commitment or they don't. This creates consistency and eliminates the constant mental fatigue of choosing the same things over and over. Story shot 4. The power of morning routines. By simply changing the way you wake up in the morning, you can transform any area of your life faster than you ever thought possible. Hal Elrod. Think of your morning like tuning a guitar before a concert. Get it right, and every note that follows sounds better. Your first waking hour works the same way. It sets the frequency for everything else. People with consistent morning routines report feeling 92% more productive compared to only 79% of those without them. That's not a small difference. That's the gap between struggling through your day and owning it. Why your brain craves morning structure. Your mind makes thousands of tiny decisions before lunch. What to wear, which route to take, what to eat, where to focus first. Each choice drains a little mental battery. Morning routines eliminate this decision fatigue by removing the need to make countless small choices. You wake up knowing exactly what comes next. Research shows that late morning hits your brain's peak time for cognitive work, making those first waking hours crucial for building momentum. When you start with intention, that clarity carries forward. How you handle those early moments impacts your productivity long before you reach your desk. The physical benefits are equally compelling. Morning exercise increases serotonin and norepinephrine production, enhancing your ability to handle stress throughout the day. You'll also experience a 2-hour productivity boost following your workout. What makes mornings so powerful? You're creating structure during your first hour to establish a foundation for calm, confidence, and productivity, regardless of what challenges arise. It's like building a launching pad for your entire day. This connection between mornings and success isn't accidental. Structure boosts productivity. The question isn't whether morning routines work, it's whether you're ready to claim that advantage for yourself. Story Shot 5. What is the miracle morning? You've heard about the power of mornings and the trap of mediocrity. But what exactly is this system that promises to change everything? Back in 2012, Hal Elrod created something beautifully simple yet powerful. The miracle morning asks you to wake up earlier than usual and follow 6 specific steps that can reshape your life. No complicated equipment, no expensive courses, just you, some extra time, and a proven framework. Here's where it gets interesting. Elrod built what he calls the Life SAVERS framework. Each letter represents a different practice: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. Think of it as your personal development toolkit, designed to strengthen your physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual sides. What makes this approach different from other self-help methods? It gives you dedicated time to actually work on yourself. Instead of rushing through your day reactive to whatever happens, you start proactively. Elrod designed it to help people wake up every day and create the life you've always wanted. The best part? This isn't a rigid schedule you must follow perfectly. The routine adapts to your life, not the other way around. Whether you have 6 minutes or 60, the framework scales to fit your reality. That flexibility explains why it's been translated into 37 languages and practiced daily by people in over 100 countries. The SAVERS framework answers that fundamental question we explored earlier. How do you escape the 95% trap and live to your full potential? These 6 practices work together to create what Elrod calls the not-so-obvious secret guaranteed to transform your life before 8 a.m. Ready to see how each piece works? Story Shot 6. How your first hour shapes your day. Think of your first hour like the opening notes of a symphony. They set the tempo and mood for everything that follows. The first 60 minutes after you wake up function as a foundation for everything that comes next. Elrod emphasizes that what happens in those initial moments impacts your productivity even before your workday begins. Your morning routine doesn't need to start at dawn. The real question is what you do with those early moments that determine your success. During my 30-day experiment with Elrod's system, I discovered something interesting. Structure genuinely improves productivity. When you wake up with a predetermined sequence of activities, your brain can focus on what matters instead of making countless small decisions. Here's something most people miss. Your morning hour should be protected as your time alone. This is especially valuable for busy professionals. Those early moments, when everyone else is sleeping, become precious. Starting your day with intention establishes a positive tone that contributes to long-term success. The SAVERS framework works because it aligns with your brain's natural patterns. A well-structured routine reduces decision fatigue, allowing you to allocate more mental energy to critical tasks. Your first hour becomes the cornerstone of a productive, focused, and ultimately more successful day. Consider this. If you normally wake up feeling rushed and reactive, you're essentially training your brain to operate in crisis mode all day. But when you create intentional space in those first 60 minutes, you're teaching your mind to be proactive instead of reactive. Story Shot 7. The Life SAVERS framework. Our outer world will always be a reflection of our inner world. Our level of success is always going to parallel our level of personal development. Hal Elrod. Now comes the practical part. What exactly do you do during those morning minutes? The Savers framework gives you 6 specific practices that work together like pieces of a puzzle. Think of each one as targeting a different part of your growth. Silence, your mental reset button. Start with a few minutes of quiet. This isn't about becoming a meditation master overnight. You might sit quietly, pray, practice deep breathing, or simply think about what you're grateful for. The goal is accessing that calm part of yourself before the day's chaos begins. Even 3 minutes works. You're basically hitting the reset button on your mind. Affirmations, rewiring your inner voice. What story do you tell yourself about who you are? Affirmations help you rewrite that narrative. Instead of, "I'm terrible with money," you might say, "I make smart financial decisions that support my goals." The key is writing them as if they're already true. Your brain starts looking for evidence to support what you tell it. Visualization, your mental movie trailer. Picture yourself succeeding at something important to you, but don't just see it, feel what it's like. Athletes and performers like Tom Brady, Muhammad Ali, Oprah Winfrey, and Arnold Schwarzenegger have used this technique because mental rehearsal actually programs your brain for success. Make it vivid. What do you see, hear, even smell in that moment of achievement? Exercise, waking up your body. You don't need to run a marathon. Even 7 minutes of movement gets your blood flowing and energy up. Push-ups, jumping jacks, or stretching all count. The point is telling your body, "We're awake and ready." Reading, learning from others. 10 pages a day doesn't sound like much, but that adds up to several books yearly. Choose something that teaches you what you want to know, whether it's leadership, relationships, or your profession. Scribing, getting thoughts on paper. Write down what you're thinking, planning, or learning. This isn't about perfect grammar. It's about clearing your head and capturing ideas before they disappear. Some people write 3 things they're grateful for. Others plan their day or reflect on yesterday's lessons. The beauty of Savers? You can adjust the time you spend on each practice based on what you need most right now. Story Shot 8. Implement Savers with the 30-day challenge. Starting a new routine sounds simple in theory. Actually sticking with it? That's where most people fail. The 30-day challenge provides a structured path to making Savers a permanent part of your life. Week 1. Getting started without overwhelming yourself. Your first week will feel awkward, and that's completely normal. Focus on waking up just 10 to 15 minutes earlier and completing each Saver, even if only for 1 minute each. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. During my first week, I struggled with the early wake-up time. Here's what helped. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier than usual. Your body needs time to adjust to the new schedule. Keep sessions short. 5 to 10 minutes per practice works perfectly as you build the habit. Many people experience resistance during this phase. Your brain will offer every excuse to stay in bed. Expect this pushback and push through anyway. Week 2. Building momentum. Week 2 brings a pleasant surprise, increased energy and motivation. This is when you can extend each practice slightly, maybe spending 7 to 10 minutes on each Saver instead of 5. Track your progress in a journal during this phase. Note improvements in your mood, productivity, and overall outlook. The changes might be subtle, but they're building. If you miss a day, don't abandon the entire process. Simply restart the next morning. Week 3. Making it your own. Midway through the challenge, begin personalizing your routine. Experiment with the order of the Savers. Maybe you prefer reading before visualization, or exercise energizes you more than meditation. Spend more time on practices that resonate most with you. This week often brings noticeable breakthroughs. Unlike the initial struggle, many people report feeling genuinely excited about their morning time. The routine starts feeling less like work and more like self-care. Week 4. The transformation becomes obvious. Something remarkable happens in the final week. The routine becomes second nature. You'll wake up naturally around your new time. The momentum created in your morning begins carrying into other areas of life. The habit now feels necessary rather than challenging. You've successfully rewired your brain to crave this morning investment in yourself. Final summary and review of the Miracle Morning. 30 days of waking up at 5:30 a.m. taught me something I never expected. The person you become in your first hour determines who you are for the remaining 23. Here's what actually happened during my experiment with Elrod's system. Week 1 felt brutal. My body rebelled against the early alarm, and I questioned whether any morning routine could justify the exhaustion. But somewhere around day 12, something shifted. The practices that once felt forced became automatic. More importantly, I started making better choices throughout the day without even thinking about it. The Savers framework works because it hits every aspect of personal growth simultaneously. While most people address one area at a time, maybe they start exercising or begin reading more, this approach develops your mind, body, and spirit together. That integration creates momentum that spills into everything else. You don't need to be perfect from day 1. Some mornings I skipped the full hour and did a shortened version. Other days I rearranged the order based on what I needed most. The beauty lies in its adaptability. Whether you have 10 minutes or 60, you can still escape that 95% trap where most people settle for less than they want. Think about how Hal transformed devastating setbacks into breakthrough moments. He didn't wait for perfect conditions or motivation to strike. He made a decision and built a system around it. You can do the same thing, starting tomorrow morning. The real test isn't whether you can maintain this routine for 30 days. It's whether you can create a version that becomes so valuable you can't imagine starting your day without it. For me, that happened faster than I thought possible.